Sathyabama Institute of Science and Technology.
Myself, Dr. Privietha, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering from Sathyabama Institute of Science and Technology. The topic which I am going to cover today is call by value and call by reference using C programming. So before going into the topic, a small recap about functions. So what is a function? A function is a block of code executed when called. So first thing, block of code. What is block of code? How we can split the code? The block of code can be splitted based upon the specific task. Rubbishly, we can't split the codes as it of or just for 3 or 4 lines we can't combine like that. We can combine the code based upon the specific task, then executed when called. So whenever it is called alone, the block of code is executed, or it will be idle throughout the execution. So whenever it is called alone, the block of code is executed. Why we split this block of code? What is the need for the function concept? Of course, it is easy to understand. We can say that this block handles this specific work, and another one is reusability. So I can use this block again and again by calling using different values. And main thing, I'm calling from some location. My control is deviated to the function block, and again the control flow will be converted to the calling place. And when I am calling, I can call along with values, or I can call simply without any values. So that values we are giving a name called arguments or parameters for the input value which is passed along with the function while calling, right? And this is an example of the simple block. This is main block. Here the function name is called, and here the block of function is mentioned. So this slide covers about types of functions. So types of functions is of 4 types, and while I am explaining what is a function, I explain 2 different concepts, that is calling a function, right? So I said that I can call a function using some values and without values. That is one type. And another one, the control flow. While after the completion of this block of code, the control flow will be shifted to the calling place. So these 2 concepts is mainly noted while mentioning these types of functions. So first thing, functions with arguments. So if I call a function with a value, then it is called as functions with arguments, right? While returning to the control flow parent place, or while returning to the calling place, if I carry any value with me, then I say it's with return values. So these 2 words are mainly noted, and based upon these things 4 types are classified, that is function with argument and with return value, function with argument and without return value, same wise function with argument with return value, and function without arguments without return value. So totally 4 types, and in this 4 types, this blue mark and this red mark are noted. The blue mark is the calling place, and the parameters or value passing is mentioned in the pink place. And the basic explanation of the coding is, first thing, I have included the header file for getting the input and output functions, input and output values. And my second part is void main, where my control flow starts. I indicate my system that my control flow starts from this place, and inside that I have used 3 variables, 2 variables for getting values and 1 variable for sum upping it. And my next statement is scanf statement. My scanf statement is used for getting values from the keyboard. So I have received 2 values, that is a comma b from the keyboard. And my next statement is sum calling place. Sum is equal to add a comma b. The main thing which you have to notice, my type is return value. My function type is function with the argument with return value. So while I am calling a function using the function name, what I have done is I have passed 2 values along with it, and then normal basic printf statement to print the sum value which I received. Inside function, I have given a name add, and I have given the abbreviation as int, since because I am returning a integer value. So int add x comma y, since because I am passing 2 input values, I am just providing 2 variables to hold it. So 2 arguments are passed and 2 variables are mentioned over here. So inside it, int result is equal to 0, that is for holding my answer of the sum. So I have mentioned result is equal to x plus y, and after adding it, I am telling the C programming to return my result to the calling place. So when it carries a value, it carries a single value with it. So after that, the control flow is transferred to the calling place. So in calling place, I have used a variable sum to hold the value, and after it, in the sum, the result will be present and it is printed, right? This is one of the time. The same thing is carried out in this. So here, function with arguments without return value. In that, the same program is determined. Since I don't return any value, what I have done is I have printed the result inside the function itself. Inside the add function, I have printed the result. So calling place, I have given two variables. Since it is with the argument, I have given two variables in the calling place, two parameters in the calling place to hold it to variables, and it is executed. Function without arguments with return value. Without arguments means I don't pass any input value while calling a function. So here, this is a plain statement for calling a function, but I return a value. So what I have done is I have used a variable to hold the return value, and this program is just function without argument without return value. So I didn't pass any parameter inside it, and the program is executed, the sum is found out, and the result is printed in the same place. All of the programs give the same result. For example, if I give A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20, so my sum will be 30, but the working procedure behind this is totally different. Now we are going to see about call by value and call by reference, or we can call it as parameter passing technique. Nothing but while calling a function, how are you going to call a function? Using a value or by using a reference? So I'm going to call by using two values, or I'm going to mention the address memory location of that variables to use it inside my program. So the first topic is call by value. By default, whatever values we pass for calling a function, we call it as call by value. And in this method, whatever changes happens inside the function won't be reflected in the main place. So separate memory location for the function concept and separate memory location for the parent place. So this is a local example for call by value. Think that I have allocated A is equal to 50 and B is equal to 100. My function name is fun, and I am passing two variables A comma B. So initially in my memory location, for example, I have used the memory location 100, 102, 104, since the int memory byte is 2 bytes. So I have used 2 bytes. For example, A is stored as 50, B is stored as 100. Now, this is the actual value and this is the actual memory location. When I call my function, what I do, the two values I enter into the function, then I am changing the value as x is equal to 40 and y is equal to 200. That is, A value is held in x, B value is held in y. So I am changing is A is equal to 40 and y is equal to 200. In such case, after calling a function at initial stage, my x is equal to 50, my y is equal to 100. Since it is called by value, they have separate memory location. They don't depend upon the main variables, and they have two different variables x and y, and two different memory locations are allocated as 106, 108. And in that place, the first values, that is passing values 50 and 100 are allocated. Now, I am changing my function is called, I am changing my function values. My function value changes as x is equal to 40 and y is equal to 200. So, my parent value is 50 and 100. My function value is 40 and 200. Total two different concepts. This is an example for swapping of two numbers. That is, for A, I use a value 10. For B, I use a value 20. Now, what I am going to do is, I am going to swap the value, that is A is equal to 20 and B is equal to 10. Right? So, one thing, we can't swap the values directly in C concept. So, what we have to do, it is like the water jug problem. Think that A beaker contains red color water and B beaker contains blue color water. And I wanted to change A into blue color water and B into red color water. What you will do? So, in this concept, you have to take an additional beaker and you have to change the liquid of A into the add-on beaker, and then B liquid into A, and then the temporary beaker liquids into B. Same concept, we can't directly change. So, we have added a temporary variable, and in that variable, my x1 value is saved and my x1 is equal to x2, my x2 is equal to temporary variable. So the basic concept, int main, first in int, my concept starts over here. Int m1 is equal to 100. I didn't get any value from the keyboard. Instead of that, I'm just assigning directly m1 is equal to 100, m2 is equal to 200, and I directly print my values what I provided, that is before swapping what my values are, and after swapping what my values are. So before swapping my values are 100 and 200, that is printed over here, and my I call a function. My function name is swap number. Now I'm calling a function by using two values, by passing two values, that is m1 and m2, and the scope of this variable m1 and m2 lies between the curly braces. So inside the curly braces itself, the scope gets end. So what I'm doing is, in my function, I'm declaring two different variables, that is x1 and x2, to hold the values of m1 and m2. So x1 is equal to m1 value and x2 is equal to m2 value. Inside that, as I said, that we need a temporary beaker to change the values. So I have used int temporary variable. So temporary variable is equal to x1, x1 is equal to x2, x2 is equal to temporary variable. After swapping, I have just printed the both numbers. Now my result will be 200 and 100, right? My second concept is call by reference. So call by reference, that means I am referring a place. My value is located in this place. So you can fetch the values from this place. That is, I pass the address location of the reference. So when I pass my address location, whatever changes happens in the function will be reflected over the main area, because I'm changing the address. So same memory location, and the main benefit of this call by reference is I can get the result of multiple variables. So if I return a value, I can return only one value. But if I am using call by reference address location, I can change the values of multiple variables. And the same concept, I pass a is equal to 50, b is equal to 100. Then I call my function by using, so in this, ampersand a and ampersand b refers the address of a variable. And same concept here, since I am using address, we are using pointer concept inside it. So ampersand a refers the address, and pointer refers the value, right? So inside function, I am using ints, two variables to hold the values, that is pointer 1 and pointer 2, and inside that pointer 1 is equal to 40. I'm just changing the values, pointer 2 as 200, that is my a value will be changed, will be added in pointer 1, and my b value will be added in pointer 2. So first of all, when I call my 50 and 100, initially my address location is passed over there. My address location is passed over there. So at initial stage, my pointer 1 will be 100 and my pointer 2 will be 102. The memory locations will be allocated over here, and after calling a function, by pass the address values, and the values get changed, that is in my initial location, the location of 1000 is changed as, the value is changed as 40, and same wise 102, the value in 102 is changed as 200. So in the main function values are changed, the reflection is seen in the main function. So this is a basic program for swapping of two numbers. Be very cautious about ampersand and asterisk. Ampersand refers the address location and asterisk refers the value. So it's the same concept as of previous example. I said that m1 is equal to 100, m2 is equal to 200. So before swapping, I'm just printing the values. What I said that swap, for calling a function swap number, I called using ampersand m1 and ampersand m2. And after that, my function is called. Basically, by using call by reference, I can return multiple values. So I have written multiple values like x1 and x2. Here this concept, the function concept is called, and in function concept, I am using pointer to get the values. So address location, that is 1000 and 102 will be passed over here. Inside the temporary variable, what I have said is location of x1 is saved in temporary variable, and that is my temporary variable will be hold the value of 1000 now. Then my x1 is equal to x2, so change my x1 value as 200, and my x2 value will be changed as 100. And the basic difference of call by value and call by reference is that, main thing, a copy is passed, not the original value is passed. My call by reference, I refer only my address location, and then whatever changes may happens in the function is not reflected in the main place. Whatever changes happens in the function will be reflected in the actual parameter. and call by value, there is a separate memory location is allocated. In reference, same memory location is used, and call by value, two different parameters, two different variables are declared, but in call by reference, actual parameters are used for calling, and call by value is only one value is passed. Call by reference means several values can be returned back. So while seeing a case study, you should be very clear. When I can return only one value, then I should go for call by value concept. No, I just needed multiple values should be returned. On that cases, we have to go with the call by reference. Thank you.